as I think it's extremely important that I continue to meet you guys, our players, our officials, our volunteers, our partners, because I want to hear what you have to say about our sport. So I'll continue to be out and about as much as I can. I really enjoy going out and visiting everybody. As Martin mentioned, I came into post at the back end of 2021, so it's probably not practical for me to comment too significantly on 2021 and rather perhaps focus on the year moving forward. I've said it before, how excited I am about the enormous potential for the sport. I feel hockey is a sleeping giant in terms of what can be achieved. I feel we do have to be ambitious moving forward. There is a risk if we don't invest in our sport now that we will get left behind by other governing bodies. I feel that's already happened. We have a strong membership base, however, we have huge growth potential. There are other sports in Scotland with similar membership numbers to us who don't have the gender parity we have, nor the fact that our sport is for life. We should be addressing that and exploiting these unique advantages that we have. There is no reason why hockey can't be played anywhere, a bit of tarmac or a bit of grass, like all those other big global sports who continuously hug the limelight. We too, as in hockey, should be a sport that people in every household talk about. It's just not happening at the moment. I'm excited though about the direction of travel. You know, our performance teams under the guidance of our coaching teams are doing outstanding a job. The results in recent weeks have been phenomenal. So I'm very excited about what can be achieved moving forward. They're working really, really hard. I've been massively impressed with the dedication and commitment that people do way beyond what they're expected of. We have all the ingredients to be world class. We just need to cook them in the right way. And one of those ingredients is our people. You know, we must embrace the ambitious and determined people involved in hockey to help drive our vision forward. A lot of hard work has already been done in 2022 in really what's quite a short space of time, delivering the recommendations of the member engagement survey, the governance reset. You know, we currently have several opportunities advertised for committees on our website, so please have a look. We've also seen through a staffing restructure at senior level. We're right in the middle of recruiting a director of hockey as we speak. We've got a brand new identity and visual image, which I think the guys have done a fantastic job. We've got an exciting new long-term kit deal with New Balance, and work is really underway for our new digital platform, which hopefully we'll have ready for next season. And most importantly, we've strengthened our relationship with all of our key partners, our members and stakeholders, and increased our influence across Scottish sport and at GB level, which I think is really, really important. There is, of course, still a lot of work to do to get the basics right as we aspire to be a trailblazing and courageous governing body, one that makes the sport inclusive and one that demonstrates strength, courage, and leadership for the sport. I think we as an organization need to be accountable and responsible. However, creating a culture change that will see us become a world-class governing body, unfortunately, doesn't happen overnight. We need to have a strategy that builds on the philosophies of the member engagement survey and also underpins our vision of reset, build, excel. Our strategy consultation will commence throughout the second half of this year, and we will engage and collaborate with all our members to ensure we hit your priorities and take you all on this journey with us. We have the opportunity right now to invest in our sport throughout the rest of 2022 and beyond to continue the reset, the way we operate, and put in building blocks to help us continue to build trust and strengthen our relationships. Only then will we excel as a hockey nation, creating legacies for generations to come, hopefully as a world-class governing body. That concludes my summary, Shep.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you, Barry. I'm now going to ask Colin, as president, to deliver his report.
Thanks, Martin. In the annual report, I've jotted a few notes down, and I say in there that I'm amazed at the progress we've made in the first 6 months of reset. I want to pick up a couple of points. You can read the rest at your leisure, but a couple of points maybe gives you a feel for what I've been doing and Kaz as Vice President have been supporting. And it really has been trying to pick up from the engagement survey, a lot of the initiatives around how we run Scottish hockey. And this is where it's been phenomenal progress. So Reset has already delivered a new vision. Essentially, we want to be the best at everything we do. We've got an empowering and very positive board. We've supported by a new governance approach, which was a strong demand from the membership. And we're actively recruiting independent directors to add to that board. Barry will flush red at this, but very ambitious as a chief executive, and action-taking, decision-making, is absolutely managing the organisation for us and the sport for us. I've seen a change in the team. They clearly feel more empowered and they're ever more confident. And as I go around the country, I just get a feel that the whole of our hockey family is very enthusiastic to contribute and go on the journey together with us as one team. We seem to be an organisation no longer afraid of, but rather willing to embrace change. Now, we're looking to build world-class into every aspect of our sport. And when Barry and the team come out to talk to us, I think it's important we think of all aspects of the sport: well-being and welfare, grassroots growth, not just performance, not just our Saturday league hockey, but facilities, umpiring, and developing technical officials, lifestyle hockey, things like masters and walking hockey, para hockey, and as many of you know, a big hobby horse of mine is state school hockey, coaching, fundraising, club management, governance. We need to express our opinions on what we would like to see in terms of being world class. I think the other thing we've got to note, though, is not everybody is comfortable with change. And that's the same, whether it's in your personal life, working life, whatever. So we've got to help everybody through this journey and help each other to navigate through the build phase that we're heading towards. I've been very fortunate to be teamed up with Kaz, our Vice President, who gives so much of herself. We added up, we've probably met people from more than 80 of our 140 affiliated organisation schools and clubs during the year and had the chance to talk to them. Give them the story out from the board, but also gather in opinions and feed them back. What we learn and hear when we're talking to you, it feeds into the board. We're guests at every board meeting. In addition to that, we have a monthly meeting with Barry and some of his management team. And that allows us to help influence decisions and influence priorities. So in the year ahead, Kaz and I will be available, we'll be active. Please engage with us. When we're in your neck of the woods, please feel free to tell us what you're thinking. And that will supplement the formal routes of communication as we create a new strategy. I'm very, very confident this organisation is going to encourage many, many thousands more people to enjoy this lifelong sport. And I'm looking forward to working with you all as we go into next year, fleshing out that world-class strategy and helping this sleeping giant that we love, Scottish hockey, to achieve great things. That's it, Mark.
Thank you, Colin. Much appreciated. So the final report is Ali on discipline. Ali, have we got you? Lloyd, have we got Ali?
Yeah, just coming in as a panelist. He was signed in as a attendee, so just changing that over just now for him.
Okay.
Hopefully with us shortly.
Aha, right, thanks folks. Once again, my little ditty this year. First of all, this year, I'd like to start off by saying that unfortunately, everything I tell and talk about hasn't really been done by myself. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the board for those of you that don't know, I was quite unwell in August, and the board quickly stepped in to appoint Barbara Morgan and some others to run the discipline process in my absence to enable me to rehabilitate fully, which I'm happy to say I've managed to do. And I think that what I would like to do is congratulate them on the work that they've carried out and moved the process forward. As I say, it's been well done as it was in previous seasons, and I think everybody was quite happy. So to the bit that everybody wants to find out about, how well or how badly did we behave this year? So we're going to start off with the breakdown of cards. Now, it's interesting, there was, when I really would like to thank Emma High for the production of the data for this. It was really, really impressive what she managed to do and pull together for me. What I've decided to do for the men's and women's outdoor leagues, I've split it into prior to Christmas and post-Christmas. And the reason I did that was because I wanted to see if people had actually, you know, like, I think coming back to the sport, having been out of sport, was it something that, you know, like, I think people were a bit rusty, both as officials and also as players. And I wanted to see if there was a significant improvement in the league. The indoor was obviously very truncated, so there wasn't so much in terms of that. So I'm going to start off with the ladies. And in the ladies' Premiership, the behaviour deteriorated slightly after Christmas, but not significantly, on the basis that there were 3 yellow cards before Christmas and 5 after, and there was 1 after-match incident. In the Ladies National League, there were 9 yellow cards before Christmas and only 2 after Christmas. And for the ladies indoor, in Division 1, there was 1 yellow card. In Division 2, there were 5 yellow cards, and in Division 3, there was 1 yellow card. And I can tell you that every one of those yellow cards was for the same thing, which was for forcing the ball. So that was the thing. In the Scottish Cup, there were no cards awarded to any ladies, according to the statistics. So well-behaved ladies this year, excellent efforts from both officials and the players to keep everybody on the pitch as best we could. In the men's league, the men's Premiership, prior to Christmas, and bearing in mind there were actually slightly fewer games, I believe, before Christmas, there were 82 yellow cards, and after Christmas there were only 60 yellow cards, which is given for the most part, the reasonings for that in the first half of the season were descent and breakdown, and in the second half of the season it was mostly for descent, so clearly the tackling had improved, so that's good. In the Men's National League, the behaviour was significantly better. There were 29 yellow cards before Christmas and 24 after Christmas. In Men's Indoor League, there were 22 yellow cards in Division 1. There were 4 in Division 2, all to the same club in 2 games. And there were 7 in Division 3, and in the Men's Regional League, there was 1. That's for indoor. Men's Outdoor Regional League had 6 yellow cards in the entire season, all before Christmas. In terms of AMIs, over the whole season, there were 3 AMIs, and they were all for umpire abuse. And there were 8 red cards. That's a significant reduction on previous years, where we were up sort of 15 to 20 red cards over the season. And given the fact that we had played more hockey this year than we did in some, certainly in the last couple of years, I think that's a credit to all involved. So that's all I have to say. If there's anybody who has any questions, feel free to ask.
Thanks, Ali. We'll just see if there's any questions. But just want to say, good to see you looking so well.
Thanks. Much appreciated. And I have to say the support I received from Scottish Hockey was absolutely excellent. Much appreciated. It did aid with my recovery, so thank you. So
good. Any hands up, Lloyd, that you can see?
Nope, none thus far. Thank you.
Okay.
Chef.
So I just want to thank all 3, Barry, Colin, and Ali, for their comments. Hopefully gives everybody a flavour of where we have been, but also where we are going, which I think is really important. So Lloyd, if you could just put the agenda back up, please, for me. Remind everybody where we are. Thanks, mate. So we've had the reports. So the next item on the agenda is to approve the level of registration and affiliation fees for season 22-23. This is the fees that have been proposed by the board. So I will just give a little bit of background to why we've what we're proposing and why, and we'll move straight to a vote at the end of that around that. I think hopefully we've resolved one or two of the voting issues, but I'm sure the guys are still working on that if necessary, but hopefully they're resolved. So regarding registration fees, as mentioned at the start of the meeting, we've managed to hold registration fees at the current level for the last 2 years. As you'll have also seen, registration fee income is a significant part of Scottish hockey income, along with our income from Sport Scotland and commercial income. Obviously, like there is for all of us, there's significant inflationary pressure on us. And as stated, we've said our aim is to try and diversify income in the future, but we have to protect our income in the current times. So we're proposing a 5% increase for most of our fees, including all adult and under 18 fees, as well as some of the others, significantly below inflation at 5%, although some club fees will rise a little bit more than that, which is between 5 and 10%. Regarding our youth fees, I'm aware of concerns regarding the increase, and we've had some feedback about that. But I would suggest that at £5, they represent extremely good value. We've looked at other comparable sports governing bodies in Scotland and have found youth affiliation fees ranging from £10 to £40. We've not found any under £10. Over recent years, we have substantially increased the number of youth competitions for our younger players. Obviously recognise that not all youth players play in these competitions though. Through our competition staff, our regional development managers, and increasingly our Lead the Way cohort, we're offering significant support to districts and clubs and their youth programmes, and will continue to focus on youth hockey as a key part of our overall strategy. Indeed, we've had very significant feedback about some of the youth competitions that we have had, praising the organisation, etc. Should point out that all our membership money is invested in the game to help us to open it to all, to improve our services and attract the partnerships that we need. To be a world-class national governing body as we want, we need these income streams. So I'd like to just move straight now to a vote on the proposed increase. So Lloyd, if you could do the necessary to get the voting panels up, please. Okay, thanks, Lloyd. I think the voting is concluded, and the voting was 28 in favour and 18 against. So the motion will be carried, and those will be the new fees for next year. Obviously, some dissatisfaction. We will note that. We will discuss that. I think most of it is probably around the youth fee increase, but as I say, we will continue to work with clubs and districts to justify why that is the case, and we will continue to address that. So thank you for that. Lloyd, if you could put the agenda back up, please. So the next item on the agenda is the the discipline officer. We've had 2 nominations. Ali is standing again, and Ben Horton is also standing. So I'm going to give each of them a short period to address the meeting, and then there will be a vote on the election of the discipline officer. So we'll do it in alphabetical order. So first of all, Ali, if you want to say a few words.
Okay, give me a second. Hi, am I on now, guys?
Yes.
Thank you, Martin. That's okay. Good evening, everyone. Many of you will know me, but for those of you who may not, I'm Ali Dick, currently the Discipline Officer for Scottish Hockey. I've served as the Discipline Officer for the last 8 years, and before that as Chairperson of the Discipline Panel. I came into these roles after many years of being part of the panel process, and that experience provided me with a solid foundation on which to build. I'm also fortunate that with my role as a technical official both within Scottish Hockey and the European FIH and Euro Hockey League, I have got excellent knowledge and skills from which to draw. Okay, I qualified as an EHF official after attending a judges course in Breda in 2007, and I've attended many tournaments domestically and internationally, and I've been promoted to the role of technical officer, developing my skills and knowledge around discipline hearings and management. In addition to my role as an international technical official within Scottish Hockey, I have been an umpire for over 30 years and involved in the assessment of grassroots and senior level umpires within Scottish Hockey. I also sit on the newly formed umpire development group within Scottish Hockey, and I have also been fortunate enough to play at a high level in the National League in my earlier years. Okay, as already referred to, I've undertaken the duties of discipline officer for the last 8 years. However, due to an unexpected illness at the start of last season, I had to step back slightly from my role of discipline officer during my rehabilitation period. I was able to lean on some of our current discipline panel to support me during this time, and it made me aware of the processes and procedures that I take for granted around the role. And I was able to reflect on the wealth of knowledge that I've attained over my time in office. The role of discipline convener is pivotal in ensuring the timely processing of issues raised and a fair and equitable approach for umpires and players alike. And in my time in the role of discipline officer, I have gained a reputation for being firm but fair and not afraid to make decisions on dealing with players which reflect my values of honesty, transparency and integrity. The discipline process has evolved significantly since my involvement into a more efficient and transparent process, which has the flexibility to tailor the necessary support to bring an improvement in participants' actions to improve the overall sport. I have also built good relationships with the staff of Scottish Hockey and feel that there has been a strong working relationship with Emma High to ensure the smooth operation of discipline. The last year has also made me realise the requirement for succession planning, and I firmly believe that to undertake this important role, you're required to have to be part of the system of discipline and develop on a solid base to draw and develop further. I was therefore somewhat surprised to have Ben stand against me for this role, as he has shown little or no interest in learning about the process and has never shown an interest in how the process works. I am also happy to work with interested parties and keen to develop those who would wish to support taking over the reins in the future. I am well aware that this is not a post for life, And I think in the last year that's become very obvious to me. However, I do feel that this post warrants someone with the knowledge, skills, attributes to ensure the execution of the discipline officer's duty with solid governance being maintained going forward. Tonight we've heard of many changes in our sport, and when we think of the systems of leadership that approach that Barry is taking across the sport and the challenge that that will bring, we also need to think about the stability in the domestic game, ensuring our discipline processes are delivered consistently and under sound governance. And I feel it is imperative in supporting the way forward as we open out opportunities for others to shadow and learn and widen our group of volunteers across the sport. Finally, I cannot emphasise enough that this is an experience-based position over many years, learned over many years by way of an apprenticeship from those already in position. Critically, my learning was experience-based on the memories of my elders, which was and still is essential given the lack of an overall database of decisions for Scottish hockey. Finally, I did offer Ben the experience in apprenticeship training opportunity I received when he chose to stand for this, but it was declined. It appears Ben believes he has sufficient length and breadth and depth of hockey experience for such a role within Scottish hockey and did not believe in such an apprenticeship. I leave it for clubs to determine whether the wisdom of Ben's decision befits the role of discipline officer. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Ali. Now we'll invite Ben to speak.
Thank you, Martin. So, as said there, I'm Ben Horton. I'm a player down at Fjord Retrievers, and I'm an umpire and tech kind of wherever Scottish hockey takes me and wherever I get to go. When I initially put my name forward for this role, I did kind of think about what Ali's mentioned there. Could I do what's required in the position right now? And could I uphold those high standards that are there at current? And I am confident that I can. Wouldn't be here if I didn't. Throughout my professional experience, I believe I've developed a strong sense of judgment, equipped myself well to use precedent to inform decisions, and apply the essential human factor when needed. Hockey is, after all, about us. It's about the people. And in truth, I've found that human factor can often be left till last. The player, the coach, umpires, and everyone involved in any decision which leads to any kind of discipline officer involvement, they're human. So why not focus the energy on that? And it actually came from an experience I had where I had to miss a game with my club and a player ended up getting sent off. What they got sent off for, absolutely no question about it. Wasn't going to question it. But there was little to no support after the sending off and kind of rehabilitation around it. One of the things I like to what I actually talked through with that player was kind of what had led up to that game and how had they been feeling, which was a difficult question for them to answer and actually think through, and it was helpful for them. Had there been something going on? And then more generally, I like to look at kind of, had they been supported? Had my teammates, had my club mates supported that player? Had a coach? And had the umpires made reasonable decisions in the build up to it? At present, all punishments are based around bans, and not every discipline issue goes to a punishment, but if it does, it ends up being a ban. And I don't think that's enough because it's a negative reinforcement. I don't think that's enough to develop the world-class environment that Scottish hockey and Barry are looking and striving for over the next 10 years. There's no restoration in place. In the spirit of the stated vision of reset, build and excel, why don't we look at resetting the way we approach discipline and build in factors to reinforce positive mannerisms and positive attitudes? With positive attitudes on the pitch, we're going to have fewer discipline issues. As Ali's shown, that is already dropping, and I want to continue that trend. And with fewer discipline issues, we build a good environment and a positive world-class environment that helps development, it helps retention, and it helps the sustainability of the game. All of these are fundamental components to Scottish hockey's want in their new ambitious vision for the game. With that positive environment comes more engagement. We've all seen it. I've had dog walkers walking by Tweedbank hockey pitches we're playing, and while we're enjoying our game and we're having a good, fun game, they're watching, they're getting involved. And I've had 2 players join just this season purely because they've seen us and they've been around the game as it's enjoyed. If we can have that, that's what we want for our game. We want more engagement, more people coming along. It's what every club strives for. And why can't discipline on a macro scale have an impact in that? Why can't we use this to help grow our part? And that's what I want to do. I want to grow the sport and I want to make positive changes, and I want discipline to be key in the vision of excelling as a sport. And hopefully you guys do too. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Ben. So now we'll move straight to the vote. So again, Lloyd, if you can put the screen up and we'll go straight to a vote. Thank you, Ben and Ali. Okay, thank you, everybody. So we've had the result in for the vote. The vote was 25 for Ben, 20 for Ali. So hereby appoint Ben as discipline officer for the coming year. I just want to say a huge thanks to Ali for the amount of work that he's put in for the many years he's been involved, and wish him all the best. And as I say, repeat my personal thanks to him and thanks to Scottish Hockey for his role, and welcome Ben into the position. So thank you both, and thanks everybody for voting. So now, Lloyd, again, if you put the agenda slide back up, please. So now we're moving to AOCB. I haven't had anything in advance of the meeting, so I'll shortly open up to enable people to raise their hands if they've got any questions or comments. One thing I want to raise immediately under AOCB is a message from Wendy Justice, who, as I said earlier, had resigned last week. She apologises that she hasn't yet had a chance to explain to the membership the reasons for her resignation, and that is something we'll work on with her as to how best to do that going forward. But she did want that to be noted. So now I'd just like to see if anybody's got any further questions for the meeting. Oh, sorry, I've just realised I missed something out. I do apologise. So I was just getting very smug and thinking we got through everything very smoothly, and I forgot that we have to reappoint our officials convener. So I rewind what I said. The officials convener, Blair, is currently the officials convener, and he is the only nominee. So I'd like to go again, as per the Vice President, straight to a vote on renominating Blair Thompson as officials convener. So my apologies. Okay, thank you. That vote was 45-0 in favour of Blair. So well done, Blair. Thank you, and we look forward to working with you again next season. So excellent work. So now, as I said before, we're back onto AOCB, and I know there's a couple of questions. So. Lloyd, could you let Sean Henley have a...
Yep, Sean, if you raise your hand, I can then easily allow you to talk. Thanks, Sean. That should be you now, Sean. If I can get the words out.
Okay, thanks very much for the opportunity to ask a question. This is on behalf of Waverley Inverness Trinity Hockey Club, which I'm here representing, but also some mumblings from other clubs. So it regards an email that was received from Wendy Justice earlier in February about the Scotland Women's Under-22 team participating in the Women's Junior World Cup. So we received this email that was all full of concern about the situation, about those young ladies not being able to attend, and then there was no further communication. So I would like, please, an update as to what the resolution of that situation was and how that happened, please.
Okay, Sean, I will start, but I might ask Barry to just help me out. But basically, Sean, we hadn't qualified for the Junior World Cup in South Africa, and we got a fairly last-minute invitation to attend, which was not in our plans. So Barry and his team consulted with the parents of the athletes who are likely to be involved, and looked at the pros and cons of us going. And it was a very difficult decision. There was lots of whilst there was great opportunity for players to play in a major event, there was a number of issues around the timings and how it might affect some of the athletes who were also likely to be in the senior women's training programs. It would also likely affect our domestic season and have players unavailable for several weeks around the prime part of our domestic season. So looking at all the evidence and all the concerns, Barry and his team made the call not to accept the last minute invitation. Now, I know that probably was disappointing for some people, given that the opportunity had been, the possibility of the opportunity had been raised. But looking at the bigger picture, the decision was taken not to send a team at that time. So that's what happened, Sean. I don't know if anybody else wants to add anything to that summary. Okay, Barry, are you wanting to say anything? You've just come up on my screen for some reason.
No, it's just to establish exactly what she wanted from the answer in terms of a resolution. So I'm guessing, as you've gone in, there's been no further question that she was looking for a rationale for why we didn't go to the Junior World Cup, rather than an understanding of why a letter was sent. So just making sure we were addressing what she exactly wanted from her request. But if she hasn't followed up, if Shan hasn't followed up, imagine we have, unless Shan is still there.
I think you can hear me.
Yes, sure. I can. Yeah, okay, I wasn't sure if we got the grips of your question. Was it to understand the decision not to go, or was it to understand what happened off the back of the letter?
Yes, so it was really a justification for why that opportunity was not available to Scottish young athletes, whereas it was available to those from England, Wales and Northern Ireland, and thinking through what the ramifications of that could be going forward in terms of competitiveness and match practice at that higher level. So I received some concerns from my members and hearsay from other clubs, and just really wanted to get clear in my head what the justification was for not sending the team, so that I can report back.
Thanks, Shan. I think Martin has addressed most of it, but whilst we do have Chris Duncan, who was involved in the consultation on the call, from a playing perspective, he would be happy to contribute a few lines to it in terms of the decision as well.
Okay, thank you.
Evening, Shan. Evening, everybody. Yeah, I suppose just a good opportunity for me to jump in here. I think that Martin and then Barry are probably giving good background to that decision. Now, my role is obviously not as under-21 coach, but as a senior coach, I was part and parcel of the discussions that led to the decision not to go to the Junior World Cup. And there are also lots and lots of factors that need to be considered towards it. Now, I understand that when we talk about a Junior World Cup, we are talking about the pinnacle of the sport at that level, and that is a great opportunity. But I think there are really big factors that impacted and influenced our decision not to travel, such as the opportunity to train prior to actually making that trip. As Martin mentioned, the impact that would have had on the domestic league. But I think one of the biggest factors is being at the point where we would have had to travel and the point where the invite was given, we would have had less than 2 days of preparation as a squad before traveling to the pinnacle event of under 21 hockey to then compete against some of the world's best teams. Now, at the same time, our juniors are going to an A Division European Championships this summer that if they stay in the top 6, they qualify for next year's Junior World Cup. So one of the key things for us as part of the reset phase is to try and build a sustainable governing body and a sustainable performance program that gives us long-term success and long-term results, not just quick fixes and quick opportunities. So we definitely felt, and I 100% wholeheartedly endorse that the route we've taken is the best route long-term to deliver us a really sustainable top 10 world-class level national team and governing body.
Okay, thank you very much. And yeah, all the best to those talented young people.
Thank you, Sian. Thank you, Chris. I see a question from Sally. We'll get some figures. I think if I just do a very back of the envelope calculation, we've got approximately, Sally has asked about current income generation through the youth fees and what this will be under the new rate. We've very approximately got 6,000 members. So that income will, 6,000 youth members. So that will obviously go from about £6,000 to £30,000, which is small in the grand scheme of Scottish hockey, but significant. And as I said before, we recognise that for some clubs, this feels like a very large increase, but this is effectively asking parents to increase their contribution from £1 to £5. So it is significant at a local level, but and as I say, those are the numbers behind it. Okay. I also see a question from Max Blanchflower about, does Scottish hockey have a plan to bring more coaches into our game at grassroots level? There is a severe shortage, as I am sure that you are aware. If there's a plan in place, can it be shared with members? I mean, we're always looking to increase coaching numbers. We run a lot of coaching courses. I don't know whether anybody else wants to jump in on this one from the panel currently, but we are, always looking to increase numbers. And one of the great roles of the RDMs is to help clubs plan how they develop coaches and and make sure that clubs are aware of the resources that Scottish hockey can help with in terms of coaching courses and things like that, as well as our significant other programs like Lead the Way. So yeah, we always want to bring more coaches in, but we need clubs and districts and everybody to help us to do that. I'm not sure if anybody else wants to comment after that.
Hi, Shap. I'm happy to contribute. Look, we're coming to the end of a strategy cycle. So we have to revise and complete strategies all over again. And obviously, coach education, investment in people, investment in volunteering, supporting umpiring and officials, all a huge part of our new strategy moving forward. So we're currently in the last year of the existing strategy. So it's probably not good for me to be looking at the previous 3 years, but it's definitely an area that's came up strong in my visits, that massive shortage in coaches. So it's going to be a huge part of our new strategy moving forward. And actually, of course, when we go out and start to consult with our membership, we'll start to get an idea of where we need it most and the types of coaches that were needed as well. So it's all part of it and some of the key priorities that need to be included in that strategy. So the time is now, as with most things, for the whole of the rest of the year, we'll be putting together strategies to address all of these major concerns. We certainly need them to grow the game. So yeah, there'll be a brand new strategy on that, Chep, if that helps circle that one off for you.
Thank you. Thanks, Barry. Question from Anne Witherspoon about the governance structure and the new post of Director of Hockey. This will be something that Barry will be showing in the future as we move forward, I'm sure, how the new staffing structure will exactly sit as he and the director of hockey get to grips with it once that person starts. But clearly we will communicate that as and when we're ready. Yes, Barry?
Look, yeah, we're still in the appointment process. So we did a number of interviews today for the director of hockey, as it happens. So we've still got a bit of time to go to make sure we got the right person. But of course, when that person's appointed, we'll refresh any structures that are online or on the website. But this is, of course, is relation to the staffing structure. So the director of hockey, if you didn't see the job description, is a role that sits immediately below the chief executive and has responsibility for all things that are hockey related as the director of hockey, and will have an overseeing role right across from the grassroots game all the way up to elite performance. So just to give you an idea of where it does sit, it'll sit immediately below and be a main point of contact for all things connected to hockey. But yeah, we will of course update the charts that are out there once the person's appointed.
Thanks, Barry. Another question from Robbie Miller. Is there any update on the asset transfer of Glasgow National Hockey Centre? Robbie, I think it's fair to say this has been one of the most frustrating things for both myself and Barry this last good 9 months probably. We made our interests clear to Glasgow Life, and that we were interested in a potential asset transfer if things could be worked in the right way. We were told we were the only bidder to do that, and then we asked if we could then start negotiations around how we could do that, because we need to look at all sorts of different things about ownership of the asset, long-term future of the asset, who would fund any replacement and things like that. So there's a whole heap of questions that we had, and I have to say Glasgow Life have been really poor in responding to us. We've continually asked for meetings and asked for figures, and we have continually failed to get very much from them. What we did do was we managed to secure access to the facility for continuing to play on the facility, but it has been very frustrating and very slow moving to get any sort of traction around meaningful discussions. And we haven't really, it's very frustrating to say this, but we haven't really moved forward a great deal in 9 months. Barry has reached out to more senior levels within Glasgow Life to try and get this thing moving. And we will continue to do that. As I say, we were the only bidder, so we're not aware of anybody else trying to get it. It is purely the incompetence, is not too strong a word, I think, of Glasgow Life in failing to have the right people to get us moving. But we will continue to keep trying, and we'll keep taking that forward. Okay, so sorry there's no great news, but we'll keep pushing. Just looking at some other questions in the chat box. Sorry, Barry.
Do you want me to just add anything to that Glasgow Green?
If you think if I didn't cover it correctly.
So in the last few days, confirmation that we're now entering into the engagement phase of the process, which has been a long time coming, as you said, and just reiterate the frustration. But overall, obviously, it's a new concept for the PMGC group who are leading up on this, who aren't asset transfer specialists. They're not facility specialists. They're employees of Glasgow Life, predominantly, who worked in leisure and sports. So it's new ground for them, which is why it's a slow process, and they're obviously dealing with dozens of facilities. So the conversations we do have with them now seem to improve just recently, but as Shep has said, it's been very slow and very frustrating. But we feel confident that there's a plan A, there's a plan B, and there's a plan C, and we feel confident that whatever guys the hockey centre will be there to stay. I'd be pretty confident in saying that. It's just about what's the right model for it. That's probably as much as we can into the detail at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Just trying to quickly cover off and other questions in the chat box. Maurice Kelly has asked, is there a plan for support of Hockey Fives? Maurice, this one probably goes straight into the long-term strategic plan box. For those that follow developments in world hockey, the FIH is very much in favour of Hockey Fives, but in the European Hockey Federation is much more in favour of retaining indoor as the second version of the sport. So there's a lot of politics worldwide. We need to sit down and look at it and go, what's best for us in Scotland? And we haven't really had a chance to do that, but that is very much part of the long-term strategic plan discussions over the next 6 to 9 months. And I think everybody will be given the chance to contribute to those discussions. So, Maurice, I hope that's okay at this stage. Yeah. A couple more. When will the relegation format for Premiership be finalised for the upcoming season? This will be Ewan Campbell asked this question. The competitions team are still working hard on the format for this season, and then they will be doing further engagement on the plans for the season after. I've asked Barry if we can set a date for that. We haven't finalised when that will be complete, but we will make sure that we do that properly, do the consultation of the format for the 23-24 season, and what that means in terms of relegation, etc., for the current season. So that will be done ASAP, ideally before the season starts, but maybe creep a little bit later than the start of the season, but certainly in very good time to make sure everybody's is kept informed. So that's that one, Ewan. Ailey Stuart Harding asked about when do we expect an update on the new system that's going to replace Core. I think Barry mentioned that in his update, that we're very close to that. I don't know whether you can put a date on that, Barry, at this point.
I think there's an update coming out from Michael tomorrow on the new system, actually, as it happens. Michael's on the call. I'm sure he'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there is an update coming out tomorrow. Mike, are you on?
He's nodding and he's not shaking his head.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Thanks, Michael. And as you said on the competitions, we'll having some internal discussions on it. We'll come out in the next week or two, Shep, with an update on that too.
Yeah. Okay. Michael Watson's asked about pitch strategy to be shared with local authorities. Michael, again, this is something in terms of our long-term strategy, that we're looking at constantly. How do we properly engage with local authorities? We've had some successes and some instances where the communication hasn't been great. And we're currently working through some of the issues, in certain parts of the country. In terms of an overall strategy, it's something that we need to build into our long-term strategy about how we want facilities to be, how we want to operate facilities, and how we look at the whole big picture of the right facilities in the right places for the right sport. If we do decide to go down Hockey Fives route, that changes views on facilities, etc., etc. But this is something that we are constantly in negotiation and talks with Sport Scotland, and Sport Scotland are very keen that there is a multi-sport approach with local authorities, and that's something that we will be speaking to them about. But this remains one of the most difficult issues for us. Trying to find and get the right facilities is never going to be easy for us. We're not a sport that can afford to spend money on facilities at the moment, so we have to keep working with lots of different partners. And this is what Barry referred to in terms of us making sure that we get right partners in the right places, and we do need to work harder with local authorities, I think. Okay, Ewan's got another sort of specific Premiership club questions, and I think Ewan will probably need to pick those up directly. We will do so with you. I think there's wider views than just the Premiership at this meeting, but we will pick up with you if that's okay. Craig Monroe has asked about the change of purpose of Bell's coaching hall. Is there another hall lined up at central location for the National League indoor? I think that's a question again. Barry, are you and the team able to answer that one specifically, or are we still in negotiations?
Last update that I had was that they had to revisit the community engagement piece, and they made the decision without proper consultation of the local clubs and local communities, so that they have to start the process again. So it opens up the door for us to be influential in the direction of travel on it in relation to Bells. It's sort of the wider facilities piece question earlier, Chef, just to add on to the risk to existing pitches. And for us, this is all about influence strategy, and we need to position ourselves in local authorities so that we're not an afterthought when it comes to decisions around pitches. We need to be at the table. So it isn't just about having a good facility strategy. We need to have a good influence and a good influencing strategy in the first instance. So there's a little bit of work to be done in all that.
Okay, thank you. Rhoda's asked about the increase and the effect on schools. Again, Rhoda, I just need to reiterate what I said before, that we still think it's extremely good value. £5 affiliation fee to a governing body is extremely low. As I said before, we haven't found any other governing body with the affiliation fee under £10. Now, yeah, it has knock-on effects, but I think we've demonstrated what we're trying to do with this sport, where we're trying to take it. We need to ensure that fees are sensible and reflective of the services that we're offering and the opportunities that we're offering, and we will continue to do that. I can't comment exactly what that means for an individual school, an individual club. We all have to work out how that is passed through. But as I say, £5 I think is extremely good value, and we should back that going forward. Sian, thanks for your comments. We will consider those about the style of the meeting. I think that's it. So I'm still looking to see if there's any other questions on there, but I think I've covered everything that I've seen. Lloyd, can you tell me if there's any that I've not picked up?
Not that I can see thus far.
Okay. All right.
If anyone else in the panelists can see.
Rachel. Okay, sorry. Rachel, you had a question earlier on. Can I remind myself what it was? It was, I think it was asked about the youth fee increase, why there was no opportunity to discuss. Well, obviously this was the opportunity to raise the proposal and allow people to see what the proposal was. A proposal had to be put to the meeting, and the way our articles work had to be voted on. This was that, and we have picked up feedback. We did give advance notice of what the fees would be, and we did get some feedback which I've tried to answer. It was that we had to put a proposal forward, and we did that to the meeting, and that's just what the way it worked. So that's just where we are. Rhoda's asked when will we have feedback after year one on Academy and Brave pathway. Barry and his team, I know, are working hard on that, and they will, in the normal course of events, feedback to clubs and districts about the Academy and Brave pathway. But I don't know if there's anybody, Barry, in your team wants to speak, or do you want to just cover that one off?
Hi, Chef. Yeah, look, we are currently reviewing it right this minute. We're trying to make adjustment and changes. So we're in that process. I'm presuming that's what they mean in terms of the actual project, because it's in its first year. So obviously a lot of learnings go from something in its first year and how we can improve it. So we're currently just reviewing that as we speak.
Okay, thanks. Okay, conscious of the time, been here quite a while. There is a report on the Brave Academy, but I think we'll wait to see. So, okay, so I'm gonna wrap up now. I just want to say a big thank you again to everybody who's attended. Thank you for those that have asked the questions and given us input. We will, we hear some of the feedback, and as in, we've said in the membership engagement project, we will listen and react, and we will continue to consult going forward, specifically around the long-term strategy. That's going to be a key focus for us on the board over the next few months. But as I say, I'd like to thank everybody for being here. I just reiterate that I think we have made extremely good progress through 2 very, very difficult years. I think we're putting the right pieces in place. I think we've described how we want to reset, build, and excel. And I think it's exciting times. And Barry and his team, I think they're doing a cracking job. And I want to thank them for all the support they've given me this year and helping us move forward. And so, as I say, many thanks to everybody who's been here, and look forward to seeing you beside or on or near a hockey pitch in the near future. Thanks all.